Hello, and welcome to the fifth episode of By the Fire with the Shamana, a short transmission bringing shamanic wisdom to your life, one conversation by the fire at a time. These transmissions are intended as a form of medicine to heal, open perspectives, raise consciousness, and help you regain more freedom and power over your life. If you are curious to discover why joy is not something superficial or even optional, but actually one of the most powerful energies for transformation, healing, creativity, and conscious living, today's episode is for you. In this episode, we explore this together and why it might quietly change the way you move through your everyday life. If this episode resonates with you today and you feel called to support my work, I would be truly grateful if you could do so through a comment, a like, or by sharing this episode as you feel appropriate. Because every time this sacred space is shared, its energy continues to expand and reach the people who may need it most. Now, before we begin, I want to invite you to pause for a moment. You are obviously coming from other activities, other thoughts, and right now we are opening together a sacred space for this transmission. So I invite you to just take a few deep breaths. You breathe through your nose and you exhale through your mouth again. And you feel the air you breathe circulating through your whole body, through each of your cells. As you do so, you feel your body relaxing, becoming more present, more receptive, and ready to activate your listening and learning abilities. As you arrive more fully into this space, just ask yourself, what is your state in this moment? How do you feel? All answers are valid. If you feel good, it's fine. If you don't feel good, it's fine also. And if there is a comment section on the app where you're listening to this episode, I invite you to write down how you feel there so we can include it together in this sacred space. Now, when you feel ready, we can enter the transmission space. In modern life, it is extremely easy to disconnect from joy without even realizing it. Because somewhere along the way, you may have learned that being serious, responsible, hardworking, and committed automatically required tension, sacrifice, or emotional heaviness. And very often, this does not come from what you were told directly, but from what you observed growing up. You watched your parents working constantly and associating effort, exhaustion, or sacrifice with value and reward. You learned that important things in life were supposed to feel heavy. And little by little, joy can begin feeling secondary, almost incompatible with seriousness, ambition, or success. But the problem is that life is not only about the destination. Because the destination is never entirely under your control anyway. So what truly shapes your existence is the way you experience the path itself. And this is why joy matters so much, because joy completely changes the quality of your journey. It changes the way your body feels when you move through life, the way your nervous system functions, the way you relate to other people, the way you create, how you perceive possibilities. And even the way you experience time itself. When you stay too long inside stress, urgency, emotional contraction, or survival mode, your entire system adapts around protection. Breathing becomes smaller. The nervous system becomes more defensive. Creativity decreases. And after a while, you can become so accustomed to tension that you no longer even realize how disconnected you feel from your own aliveness. Not because something is wrong with you, but because your body learned how to survive instead of fully live. And this is where joy becomes incredibly important from an energetic perspective. Because joy reopens movement inside you. It brings circulation back into the body, softens the nervous system, expands perception, and reconnects you to life force itself. You breathe differently when you're joyful. You think differently. You move differently. And even your relationship with time changes. Joy is physiologically, it's physiological, it's energetic, it's creative, and it's relational all at once. This matters more than you realize because the emotional state you spend the most time inside gradually shape the way you experience life itself. If you spend most of your life inside pressure, exhaustion, or emotional contraction, eventually the world itself begins feeling heavier. Your perception changes, your creativity narrows. You don't really feel possibility. Everything shrinks, basically. And this is why joy is not superficial at all. Joy reconnects you to creative energy. And creative energy is deeply connected to your power as a human being. When you reconnect to joy, ideas begin circulating again. Curiosity returns, desire returns, movement returns, and life begins moving again inside you. The good news is that joy is not something that only randomly happens to you. You can consciously choose to create more space for it. Not by forcing yourself to be positive, not by pretending difficult emotions do not exist. In shamanic wisdom, all emotions contain information and deserve space. But you can begin consciously orienting yourself toward experiences that reconnect you to aliveness, instead of constantly reinforcing emotional contraction. If you are at a moment in your life where joy feels very far away, or where reconnecting to that emotion feels difficult, gratitude is often the easiest doorway back toward it. You can simply start by feeling gratitude for, the warmth of the sun on your skin, or a beautiful meal, or music moving through your body, a moment in nature, a moment of connection with a friend, or simply the fact that your body finally relaxed after carrying tension all day. These moments may seem small, but consciously allowing yourself to fully receive them changes your inner state in very real ways. And this is something many indigenous traditions understood deeply. Joy, laughter, music, dance, storytelling, beauty, and connection were not seen as superficial distraction from life, but as part of medicine itself. In many native traditions, healing was never separated from song, movement, community, gratitude, or connection to life. Even laughter was considered sacred because it softened the body, opened people emotionally, and helped restore balance and connection inside the community. Joy is medicine because joy reconnects you to life force, to your creativity, to movement. It reconnects you. And maybe one of the deepest form of healing is not only learning how to survive life, but learning how to feel alive inside it again. Now, as in every episode, I would like us to experience this transmission together. Before we begin this exercise, just a quick reminder to use your judgment and stay safe if you are driving or doing any activity that requires your full attention while listening to this episode. I now invite you to gently close your eyes for a moment and simply take a slow breath. Gently breathe in and out. Don't force anything, just breathe at your normal pace. And I invite you to bring into your awareness a moment from the past weeks or months when you felt stressed, pressured, or emotionally heavy. It doesn't need to be a dramatic moment, just a moment where you felt that your body and your nervous system were carrying more than usual. As you observe this without judging yourself, notice what happens inside your body. Notice your breathing, your shoulders, your chest, your face, and the way your body emotionally responds when you reconnect with that state. Now, do not try to change anything, just allow yourself to acknowledge that this state has been part of your experience lately. There is no need to fight it, to suppress it, or to try to solve it. Just notice what it feels like and give yourself permission to observe it without resistance. Now, as you continue breathing slowly, just allow that emotional state to gradually become more distant, as if the images, the sensations, or the memories connected to it were slowly moving further away from you, becoming softer, lighter, less emotionally intense inside your body. Let this memory leave completely your body and fade away in the background. Now that it is gone, I invite you to now remember a moment where you felt joyful, a moment where you genuinely felt happiness, lightness, excitement, pleasure, laughter, or emotional warmth inside your body. Maybe you were laughing with someone, or dancing to music, traveling, celebrating something, sharing a beautiful moment with someone you love, or simply experiencing One of those moments where joy suddenly appeared very naturally inside you. As you reconnect with that memory now, really allow yourself to enter this experience again. And notice what happens inside your body when joy is fully present. Joy occupies all the space, every single cell in your body, from head to toe, from your toes to your fingers. Notice your breathing, your face, your chest, your energy, and the way your whole body responds emotionally to that feeling. Maybe you can feel your body vibrating with that joy, right? It's a vibe. Joy is not something you think about. It's not an idea. It's not a concept, right? Your body and your nervous system experience it physically. And this is important because every transformation you go through in your life begins with a physiological change inside your body. It is a prerequisite before any change, any transformation. So the more consciously you reconnect with joy, the more your body remembers that it can return to this energy whenever you choose. I invite you to stay there for a few moments, really allowing your body to remember the feeling again. You can bath into it, basically. And before gently reopening your eyes, ask yourself one simple question. What will change inside my life once I choose to allow myself to experience this energy more regularly? Not perfectly, not all the time, just more often. And when you feel ready, gently come back into the space around you. Now, as every week, I would like to leave you with an integration practice. Very simple exercise to experiment with during the following week. So this week, I invite you to begin consciously bringing more attention to the moments that naturally create joy inside your body during your everyday life. It doesn't need to be extraordinary moments, simple moments, a song that changes your energy, a conversation that makes you laugh, a beautiful meal, a moment in nature, anything that brings you joy. And instead of immediately rushing mentally toward the next thing in your day, I invite you to pause for a few extra seconds and consciously allow yourself to fully receive the experience. Notice what happens inside your body when you stop treating joy as something secondary. Because the more consciously you create space for joy, the more your nervous system begins learning that life is not only something to survive, it is also something to experience. And at the end of the week, simply observe what changes inside your energy, your emotional state, maybe your relationships, and the way you move through everyday life. Maybe this is what this episode gently invites us to remember, is that joy is not superficial at all. Joy is medicine. Because joy reconnects you to life force itself. Choosing joy becomes a conscious act of healing, Now, before we close this sacred space together, I invite you to take one final deep breath. You inhale through your nose and you exhale through your mouth. And you simply notice how you feel compared to the beginning of the episode. You can also take a mental note about what you want to take with you from this moment by the fire today. And we can now close this sacred transmission space together. The journey continues within you. Walk gently, walk consciously, and remember, you are never walking alone. If the energy of this transmission resonated with you, you can continue the journey with me on Substack. That is where I share Whispers from the Shamana, a weekly publication to nourish your deeper self and softly awaken the shaman within. You can follow me at the address thedigitalshamana with an A at the end, .substack.com. Thank you truly for your presence here today, for taking this moment for yourself and for stepping into this space. And I will see you by the fire again very soon.